With Father's Day coming up, Brad Pitt will probably not be celebrating with his daughter Shiloh now that she's dropped the last name Pitt. 3 name changes all come after years of reports that Brad's relationship with his children has been strained.
She was telling the kids, avoid your dad.
Despicable person who makes his 4 youngest children tremble in fear.
I think it says a lot that the kids are choosing to remove Brad from their lives.
Feel everything and then go right through it and get out the other end. I feel stronger when I'm with them.
Brad Pitt's kids have all turned against him. While he's been trying to fake a relationship with his family, they've been outspoken about how much they hate their dad. And now all 6 children, one by one, are changing their last names by removing Pitt from it and acting like Brad never existed. So let's get into it. It looks like Brad Pitt is getting the Worst Father of the Year award because his daughter is now dropping his last name. Now, we noticed this because now Vivian Jolie, no more Pitt, ended up putting her name on a playbill for a Broadway musical she was working on as Vivian Jolie. She's the producer's assistant on this production, and she didn't want her father to be associated at all. Now, this is a big step for his daughter, who's only 15 years old, and I must admit, I like Vivian Jolie a little bit better. Plus, her mother, Angelina, has been way more supportive in her life, coming out with her to her show and showing face and just being there as a mom when Brad Pitt has been nowhere to be found. Angelina and Brad, who ended their more than a decade-long romance in 2016, share 6 kids together. Even though this is shocking because Brad Pitt is really that bad that his kids are disowning him, it's not surprising because Zahara, her older sister, introduced herself as Zahara Marley Jolie during a sorority ceremony. She got into a sorority house, and during her pledge, she decided not to include Pitt, which a lot of people noticed. The problem with Brad Pitt, besides his drinking issues, are the fact that he's trying to act delusional when dealing with this issue within his family. He spoke fondly of Zahara in his 2022 interview with Vanity Fair, saying she's so smart, she's going to flourish even more at college. It's an exciting and beautiful time for her to find her own way and pursue her interests. I'm so proud. Where does the time go, right? They grow up too fast. It brings a tear to my eye, which I have to say, reading this, it sounded like I was reading a chat GPT, like GPT. I always say GPT. Just description of what like a father should say about their daughter going off to college. Now, Shiloh, their daughter, was the first child of this family to take legal action regarding their name. A source told ET that Shiloh filed the papers asking to be known as Shiloh Jolie on their 18th birthday, which fell on May 27th. So everyone's turning against him. The source said Shiloh hired her own lawyer and paid for it herself. So Angelina doesn't know and can't speak for it. So not even Angelina was aware of this, and I think it shows how much these children disdain their father.
With Father's Day coming up, Brad Pitt will probably not be celebrating with his daughter Shiloh now that she's dropped the last name Pitt. Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt's daughter Shiloh Jolie Pitt filed to drop Pitt from her surname on her 18th birthday last week. Sources say Shiloh is requesting a new legal name, hoping to simply go by Shiloh Jolie. Weird how he said he's always wanted a daughter, yet he and Angelina had adopted Zahara before Shiloh was even born. The 3 name changes all come after years of reports that Brad's relationship with his children has been strained since a divorce in which Angelina has had sole physical custody of their kid. And I think it says a lot that the kids are choosing to remove Brad from their lives, which gives credibility to Angelina's story that he attacked her and the kids on the plane in 2016, or is Angelina telling the kids to drop their father?
Now, it seems like removing her name at the age of 18 isn't that uncommon for someone who's estranged from their parent. This woman, Teresa, is a solicitor at Brandon Time Law Firm and said that if children are estranged from a parent, they often wish to change their name so that their estranged parent's name is removed completely. They may also include their mother's name if they primarily live with their mother, but in this case, they had both names, so it was easy just to knock off the Pitt. Now, it seems like right before Shiloh turned 18 and changed her name, there was a moment between her and Brad Pitt because there were reports about their relationship. This is a long headline, but it reads, "Inside Brad Pitt's battle to fix his broken bond with daughter Shiloh. Actor is confident that he can rekindle their relationship now that the dancer's 18 and can no longer be kept from him by her mom, Angelina Jolie. But really, I'm not blaming Angelina in all this. I mean, I think that there has to be a factor here because we saw Brad get physical with her. We saw some of the kids intervene in the past. We've talked about this in a previous video. So I can understand why they would side with their mother because they've watched her, get battered by this man. But it's hard for me to believe that Angelina is the culprit here and was capable of turning all of her children against him. Yet he is telling the reporters that he is confident that he can strengthen his relationship with Shiloh now that they're turning 18 years old. He's really trying to push a narrative that Angelina is keeping them away from him. Actually, this source said that Angelina Jolie had made sure their children had limited involvement with their father. Quote, it's still that way with the underage ones, but with Shiloh, that is no longer Angie's choice. If Shiloh chooses to have limited contact with her dad, that is her decision, and a decision she has made. The source claims that Brad would still love her unconditionally no matter what she chose to do. The difference between now and a few days ago before her birthday is that Shiloh makes the choice, they pointed out. It's interesting that Brad is not only blaming his estranged relationship with his daughter on Angelina, but now that they are becoming 18, he's trying to now blame it on the child that's now becoming an adult, saying, well, it was Angelina's fault up until this point, but now it's Shiloh's fault if they don't have a relationship. Not really taking any of the blame. The insider continued saying that now he can contact his daughter without repercussions from Angelina. Quote, everyone is confident that they will in time rekindle the bond that was broken by the divorce. A second source told the Daily Mail that Brad would never stand down from his duties as a father and will always be a phone call away if his children want to get a hold of him. Quote, that is just the maturity that he has within him and the guy that Brad is and always has been. So he must be paying these sources a pretty penny, or maybe they're his best friends, going to the media and telling them this narrative, trying to push it days before Shiloh goes and changes her name.
We all fell in love with the video of Shiloh dancing.
Yeah.
Bro,
I know, me too.
that girl is bad.
Yeah, it brings a tear to the eye.
Come on.
Yeah, very beautiful.
So, of course, Brad tried to stir up that article, and then there is the news that Shiloh did end up dropping Pitt from her name, and he put out a statement saying that he loves his children through a source. 1 week after Angelina and Brad's 18-year-old daughter, Shiloh, filed to drop Pitt from her last name, a source told People that Pitt is aware and upset about the change. Quote, he's never felt more joy than when she was born. He always wanted a daughter. The reminders that he's lost his children is, of course, not easy for Brad. He loves his children and misses them. It's very sad. The source says the whole process has been very hard for the whole family. All this bad news must have motivated Brad, because now we've got new articles from June this month, 2024, and Brad isn't ready to give up on his children. Reports write, after years of legal battles, Brad still isn't ready to give up on his children. But knowing his children are dropping his last name is upsetting. The name changes come after Brad's security guard, Tony, claimed that Angelina encouraged their children to ice out the actor during their custody visits. Per court documents obtained by Us Weekly earlier this month, Tony alleged that the former employee, Ross, told him about statements he overheard Angelina made to the children, encouraging them to avoid spending time with Brad Pitt during custody visits. Now, this would not be cool if Angelina was doing this, because the children should be able to make their own choices, and it seems like they had been, but I mean, these kind of reports from Brad's employees are, the red flags. They're not great to hear, because it makes Angelina look like she's the bad guy here, but also these people are employed by Brad.
There's a security guard who is based in the UK who was Brad and Angelina's security and security for the family. And he has now made a declaration in this never-ending battle that he revealed that a couple of his underlings, a couple other security guards, had once overheard Angelina Jolie telling her kids to avoid Brad Pitt during his custody visits with them, right? So this is sort of like buried in this legal filing, but that's what, of course, we and everybody else are picking up on, is these little tidbits about their personal life. So basically, yeah, she was telling the kids, avoid your dad during the custody visits. Although, as I say, that's not what the filing is really about. The war that they're having is over NDAs.
So it's definitely not a good look that Ross and Tony are switching up on them, and they must work for Brad, because I feel like they would lose their jobs if they were doing this to Angelina. Another report reads that Brad Pitt fights back after son Pax called him an a-hole in an Instagram post. Reports write that Brad Pitt finds it depressing to see his son's Instagram post calling him a world-class a-hole and an awful human. The teenager, 16 at the time, said the Hollywood star made his 4 youngest children tremble in fear and made the lives of those closest to Pax a constant hell. A source within Brad Pitt's inner circle has responded saying it's frustrating to see Brad being painted as some kind of bad person when it's far from the truth. Now, this was a pretty intense post from his son Pax because it was on Father's Day and he's calling him an a-hole, the worst father ever. He wrote in his post, "You time and time again prove yourself to be a terrible and despicable person. You have no consideration or empathy toward your 4 youngest children who tremble in fear in your presence. You will never understand the damage you have done to my family because you are incapable of doing so." He said, "You may tell yourself and the world whatever you want, but the truth will come to light someday." Now, this was shared on Pax's private story, but of course nothing is private on Instagram, so people screenshotted it and shared it, and it blew up.
Brad Pitt's friends have slammed claims made by his adopted son Pax, who called his father a world-class and a despicable person who makes his 4 youngest children tremble in fear. Brad has great respect for all of his children, and it's depressing to see this dragged up. Angelina Jolie adopted Pax from an orphanage in Vietnam after he had been dumped as a newborn by his heroin-addicted mother, and Brad formally adopted him the following year. Brad's friend said, "It's frustrating to see Brad being painted as some kind of bad person when it's far from the truth."
As I mentioned earlier, he has gotten violent with Angelina Jolie. He's gotten physical, and part of it is due to his issues with drinking. In 2017, he opened up in a GQ interview revealing that he had quit drinking and smoking weed, saying, "I can't remember a day since I got out of college when I wasn't boozing or had a spliff or something." He continues, "And I'm running from feelings. I stopped everything except boozing when I started my family, but even last year, I was boozing too much. It just became a problem. You either deny them all your life or you answer them and evolve." So he's claiming he's sober now and he's a changed man. I mean, this was back in 2017, so that would be great if he's still sober to this day. Now, part of the reason why Brad is so estranged from his children is because Angelina is so present in their lives. A source said, "Since Angelina filed for divorce, Brad has been focused on having the best relationship possible with his kids, but it's been very difficult for him. Many times there have been long gaps where he didn't see the kids at all." Paul Murphy, an attorney for Angelina, said, "All Angelina has ever wanted was separation and health with positive relationships between all members of their family, including Brad." Either way, Brad is the one who's isolated from this family, whether it's his fault or not. Angelina is close with all 6 kids and just celebrated her 49th birthday with all of them. The way that Brad attacked Angelina on that plane is disgusting, and I can't imagine what these kids have seen behind closed doors, so I'm sure the truth will come to light one day. And honestly, kudos to Angelina for holding out and being a strong parent when this guy kind of checked out. And, you know, if he really wanted to be there, do you think he would have been there? I don't know. I feel like he's saying that Angelina is keeping the kids away from him, but he has as much power in this situation as she does.
What's the one piece of advice you have for someone going through a hard time?
Go right through it. Like, right through it. Feel it. Be in it. Don't avoid it. Go completely in it. Feel everything. And then go right through it and get out the other end. Many of these things, you don't have a choice. You know, it's that, what's that expression? It's how well you walk through the fire, but you walk through it.
What's the one thing you do when you need strength?
I think I spend time with my kids and just to be around them because they're the best of me. And I've learned something from all of them differently. And I think they're really interesting people, but I feel stronger when I'm with them.
When it comes to the physical allegations, Brad has consistently denied them following an FBI investigation with no charges filed. Though in Angelina's divorce filing, we saw allegations of this assault during a private jet flight, and I don't know how she would make this up and why the kids would be, you know, familiar with this as well. Now, this divorce is wild because they've yet to come to an agreement regarding their divorce or the custody of their minor children or the ownership of their French winery. We've actually spoken about the French winery before. They both own stakes in it, and they both are disagreeing on what to do with it. However, in March, an insider told us that their legal battle could end soon. Angelina receiving primary custody of her and Brad's twins, their only underage children, and Brad, for his part, isn't thrilled with the arrangement, but he agreed to it. Quote, he wishes their relationship was stronger and he wants to work on that, and he doesn't see the kids as often as he'd like to, which we've heard time and time again. But I want to hear what you guys think of this video in the comments below. I mean, I think Brad Pitt seems like he's remorseful, but he really doesn't have the chance or the bandwidth to go and fix things. And I think the kids are entitled to their feelings, and Angelina as well. But also it is a little bit sad to see that he is at least a little bit trying or feeling bad about what had happened. So hopefully they can have some healing in their family. Either way, we stand up with those kids, because I do think that Pax alluding to, like, you know, things coming to light one day is a very real statement, and there might be a deep investigation into Brad Pitt. Who knows? But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in a new one soon. Bye, guys.